Hello, good people. I can't see. Welcome to Chronicles 33. And it is March the 30th, 2022. So I would be remiss if I would not give you a Chronicles before the month is over. So right now, the thing that's trending, and excuse my, I guess they call this the chicken head. You know, back in the day, we used to try to put hair in a ponytail, but because I got my hair cut very short, I had to make do because it was raining in and my curls fell, whatever. So, one thing I need to say is that I'm a Virgo. You all know. I can see a little bit. Virgos are messy. Not all Virgos, like myself. Now, I admit back in the day, I used to be messy. I used to carry a lot of bones. But one thing you can say about Virgos is that we're very honest and we hold a lot of things, a lot of secrets. We're very loyal. But when it comes down to sugarcoating and things like that, we'll lie a little bit just to appease you and make you feel great. But after a while, we get sick of it. So now we're talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock. I know Virgos tend to be a little overdramatic. I'm very, very, very disappointed in Will and Jada. That's just my personal opinion. I'm getting ready to put my car in gear and drive and talk to you because I got to go help my sister close out her apartment. Anywho, so apparently Jada went on and did some alopecia video and all of this other stuff, but I really want to say something about this. I'm not saying that alopecia is not a big deal. I just know that alopecia is not terminal. You live, you get treatment. Sometimes your hair grows back. Sometimes your hair doesn't grow back. But guess what? You live to see another day. And you live until you don't. Alopecia is not a thing where you are terminal and it's going to take you out unless you're very depressed because you're so used to having hair that it kills you because of the fact that you don't have hair like everybody else. But Jada, you are an actress. Put on a wig. Get a weave. Now, let me say this. There was a point in time I wasn't really a fan of Chris Rock because Chris Rock used to try so hard. But then I sat down and I watched one of his stand-up, and it was so brilliant. And being that Chris has been out in the comedy world forever, he rubs elbows with the likes of Martin Lawrence, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle. I mean, he has a plethora of comedians that's way up here. I'm talking about even Jerry Seinfeld. I'm talking about like the muckety uppity upper echelon elite actors in comedy. He's a humanitarian. He does a lot. He speaks out politically. Now, one thing about comedians is that you get heckled by the audience all the time, so you have to be built for that. I'm not a comedian per se, but I understand what it's like because you tell jokes. And it's a little bit of sarcasm that goes with it. Not only are people sometimes not kind or privy to your type of comedy style or jokes or sarcasm, you have some people who really love you, and you have some people who really, really adore the fact that you can take a situation and turn it around. Now, what I watched, because I stopped watching the Oscars. The only time I'm going to watch the Oscars or any type of academic achievement programs is when my son get big out there in the acting world. I will watch the SAG Awards. I may even watch Soul Train Awards. Award shows are not like it used to be back in the day in the 90s. But one thing I will say is that Chris Rock was doing his damn job. Chris Rock was on that stage. He was trying to make light of a situation. He didn't say anything wrong. G.I. Jane, let me tell you something. I went to go see G.I. Jane with my kid's father. And he made such a big deal out of Demi Moore and that bald head and her body that I was feeling some kind of way. I was jealous. So when Chris Rock said G.I. Jane, I knew exactly what he was talking about. And it wasn't offensive because G.I. Jane was a bad bitch back in the day. Excuse my French. Not only is G.I. Jane a bad so-and-so, but her daughter was. Her daughter, rumor, went and cut out all her hair. This guy pulling out. I'm sorry. I'm Jersey driving here. But anyhow, I just had a G.I. Jane moment. But the whole thing is that G.I. Jane and someone calling you a G.I. Jane, meaning your body, your bald head or whatever, that is not an insult. That is a compliment. And she was in the audience and her face turned to stone like she was so disgusted. Will was laughing at first. And then when he turned and saw his wife with a scowl on his face, he commenced to getting his ass up and walking to the stage and slapping the pure D hell out of Chris Rock. How dare you, Will Smith? No, excuse me. How dare you, Willard? Mr. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you got to be out of your freaking mind. I went to bed. It's not my business. I don't have any skin in the game. Like I said, I don't have, to be honest, Denzel Washington should have won that award for playing Macbeth because I used to study Shakespeare in college. That language is very, very hard to read, more or less memorized to act. That whole cast of Macbeth should have won an award. This is not to take away from the fact that Will Smith played his butt off as Richard Williams. It is a great story to tell. However, that incident of slapping Chris Brown overshadowed and took away everything and every purpose of that evening. Samuel Jackson won an award. We didn't know about it. Questlove won an award. We didn't know about it. Denzel Washington presented. We didn't know anything about it. There were a lot of things that went on. Marlee Maitland's husband and the whole team playing the death movie. These are things that we didn't hear about because we're so busy trending Slapgate. Okay? So, just to go ahead and elaborate a little bit about that. That was a little more going on and brewing in Will Smith than just getting up and slapping somebody for insulting your wife and then say, keep my wife's name out your MFing mouth. Not once, but twice, to the point he had to be censored. Okay? So you all were there. You all were there in your living rooms or whatever, and you saw and heard what happened to the point where it was being bleeped. And Chris Rock was very, very shocked. And he gracefully segued into a joke. But people were shocked because the audience got quiet. Lupita Nyong'o, she was sitting there and she just could not believe it, that it happened. And so this is a bit more than someone insulting your wife. Your wife has been insulting you for the past 5-6 years, honey. From comparing you to Tupac and saying Tupac was her true love, August Alsina. Now, these are all the people and all the things that's going to be trending now from this slapgate. Okay? So while your pressure is busting your pipes from you getting angry, you should have been busting pipes when August Alsina was laying that pipe to your wife. Here, when they was doing that nursing show, we won't say nothing about Mark Anthony laying that big pipe to your wife, and then you sitting up there in the next 6 months or so sow-sowing and stuff like that with him, because that's your best friend now. But your best friend banged your wife. Let's not forget about that. Okay? And while you sitting up there slapping a friend, because he's a friend in the arts for you, because you and him have been on sets together. You and his brother have done shows together, Tony Rock. Okay? So while you sitting up here in your feelings, you didn't say anything to Laverne Cox, because now, mind you, Laverne Cox is a man. Okay? So you wouldn't have slapped her because of the LGBTQ. But that's still a man, regardless of the fact that she's transgender. Not only did you set the Academy back, you put a smear on the likes of Hattie McDaniels. You put a smear on black and brown actors and actresses who could not stand where you stood to make your speech while you cried crocodile tears. Now let's talk about the real thing. Honey, had it have been Dave Chappelle, had it have been Tony Rock, had it have been Cedric the Entertainer, I don't even like Steve Harvey, but had it have been Steve Harvey saying those things about your wife, and they could have said more about entanglement, you wouldn't have got your ass up and slapped them. Ricky Gervais has said more worse to people as a white man. Nobody got up and slapped him. Let's talk about George Carlin. Let's talk about Jerry Seinfeld. Let's talk about Wanda Sykes. Okay? These are all the people who have hosted and said a lot worse. I shouldn't be in my feelings, but what I will say is, Jada, your slip is showing. I can't even turn my neck to look at this stupid traffic. Well, your slip is showing. To the point where your stupid son, who don't know whether he's gay or straight, your daughter don't know whether she wants to be a girl or a boy or fluid or whatever, sitting up there saying this is how we do it. Go home and clean up your house. This is going to be a stain on you. This is going to be a stain on Chris Rock. But thank God Chris Rock got shows and concerts coming out. Because, honey, you have tripled his value. People want to go to his shows and see what the hell he going to say about you. And I know it's coming. But watch your back, because Tony Rock is not playing with you. Tony Rock is mad. And Chris Rock got fans. You're going to be harassed for the rest of your life. So you can sit up here and dodge reporters and dodge the paparazzi and go ahead and do your red table talk, because that's what you and Jada do. Y'all the one to air your business out there in the street for people to see. We didn't know about Entanglement Gate. That was your business. We didn't know about August Alsina. I didn't know about Mark Anthony before that whole mess that kicked off. But just because Jada put her stuff out there don't mean you ain't got dirt. Because, honey, I know about that Indian Latin girl that you've been traveling over there to Egypt with, and Eva Mendes and all them other people you've been seeing, Margot, and hey, get your stuff together, Will. Your slip is showing. Jada, as a Virgo, I understand. You want to be defended. You want to have somebody who loves you. But as a true Virgo, because there's August Virgos and there's September Virgos. September Virgos are a little nutty. Then there's male and female. So we have all four spectrums of the corner. I, myself, would have either said, let's handle this later. Don't get up If I'm insulted because of a little alopecia or I've got a wig on, hey, I remember Paul Mooney got up in the middle of a floor on an award and called Diana Ross in the audience an alcoholic. Did Tracy Ellis Ross get up and slap the shit out of him? No. Rested dead, Mr. Paul Mooney. But Paul Mooney didn't have no cut cards. This is what comedy is about. If you can't handle it, then guess what? Don't go to them shows if you know who's going to be hosting. Do your research. And comedians, do your research. Sometimes the Academy, they look at your script, they look at your jokes, and they say, hey, we don't think this is appropriate. I honestly don't think Chris Rock knew that Jada had alopecia. Jada was acting like a hypochondriac. Hey, for all we know, your hair could have fell out from all the drugs you was talking about you was doing. This ain't us. This is you. This is you and your red table talk and you airing your stuff out with your mother and your grown-ass daughter. Your slip is showing. The Smiths. The slips are showing. Get your crap together. And that little fake apology, that's damage control from your PR because you know they trying to take that Oscar. Boil that over. So that was, look, like I said, I ain't got no skin in the game. I'm just in my feelings because Chris Rock, you don't know what a person's going through. And then that Slapgate, they ain't make that stuff any better. I normally don't get all hyper and emotional over stuff that I can't control because I'm not in the acting business. But I see a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to get into blogging. I'm trying to get into reporting. So eventually I'm going to have an opinion. Everybody has to have an opinion. There's polls out there. Who was in the wrong, or who are you siding with? And let me tell you, Chris is in the lead. But there are a lot of comedians that's out here on the surface talking about it. If it hadn't been me, if it hadn't been D. Ray Davis, if it hadn't been Eddie Murphy, if it hadn't been anybody, any comedian. I remember Steve Brown had somebody in audience that he wasn't even heckling, got up on the stage and tried to kick his ass out there in Cali, I believe it was. You gonna roll up on the wrong person, Mr. Philly. You got some hard parts of Philly, but honey, there's the harder parts. You're gonna roll up on the wrong one. But anyway, so that was Chronicles 33. I just needed to do that. Smiths. Your slip is showing. Y'all have a good day. Let me go on and help my sister paint and concentrate on my driving. Because you see, I have road rage. Y'all have a good one.